afternoon, and good evening, my friends. Welcome to Level Up, the real estate training show that helps you take your business to the next level. I am your host for today, Alyssa Specht with eXp University, and I am so excited to be here with y'all. Now, today we have a packed agenda. We've got some amazing speakers who are going to share their expertise with you and help us level up our real estate game. So first up, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an agenda. Here's what we got going on today. So first up, we have the incredible Leo Robles, who's going to share the top 5 principles to help you become unstoppable and share all these tips to help you achieve your goals. Now, Leo is very, very dynamic speaker, a master of motivation. He's going to teach us all how to unleash our inner drive and become unstoppable in all areas of our lives. All right. So then after that, if that was not enough, next up, we're going to talk to Tina Beliveau, who's going to show us how to run a successful geographic farm without spending time and money on printed postcards, right? She's going to teach us how to leverage the power of Facebook groups to capture new leads, grow our business. Tina has been in the industry for years. She knows what works and she knows what doesn't. So I'm so excited for this. And my friends, we're going to keep on grooving from there. After that, we're going to be talking to the amazing Sherry Swift. She is a performance and growth coach, and honestly, one of just the most inspiring and amazing speakers and just people. When you are in a room with her, your energy will transfer to you, and it is powerful. And she's going to be talking about 3 easy habits to help you lead generate. So I'm really excited for that. We're going to be talking about habits. We're going to be talking about farming. We're going to be talking about becoming unstoppable. So, my friends, before we get started, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to the eXp Realty channel so you don't miss anything when we come up next. And then also right now, I want you to think, you heard the agenda of what we're doing here today. Who in your life needs this? Who in your life needs something that I just told you about today? I want you to click the share button, send the link out right now, and we're going to get started. So let's toss it over to Leo and let's level up.
Hey, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. This is Leo Robles, and I'm very excited to be speaking at the Level Up. I understand that I start off everything with intention, by the way. So that's actually step number 1. My conversation today is about becoming unstoppable. That's the main intention of my conversation today. And, I've been in the business a little bit over 17 years now. So I started at 18 years old, and I actually dropped out of high school, went straight into real estate because I knew I wanted to do this business. And I really got attracted to it because I met somebody that was very successful looking, right? He had a suit, car, and a house. He had the 3 things that I really wanted. And that's what got me to get into real estate. And I asked him how much schooling you needed. And he said 3 months. And I said, this is the profession for me. This is the career that I want to get into. So it's been a 17-year career. It's been life-changing. I've had ups and downs, roller coaster. I started when the market was really simple, right? 2005, 6, when you basically had a heartbeat and you qualified for anything. That's when I started. And from there, I got a taste of the market and I made money. And then after that, the market collapsed. And when the market collapsed, I went through a huge time period where I struggled for a big amount of time. It was about 1.5 years almost. I had a massive pity party. So I was just kind of upset at life. I had learned about personal development. I had read, gone to seminars, read books, all of these things. And when I lost everything, I really felt like none of it worked. And I kind of like rejected everything, even to the point where I didn't want to wake up out of bed. I didn't even want to go to work, like nothing. I had lost all the motivation. I tell people, it's when you achieve success, or you achieve any sort of financial, fluidity in your life, you're going to get to the point where if you don't have money, it's okay, which I didn't. I didn't come from a, very wealthy background. So when I started up, I made money. When I got a taste of money and I understood the freedom that came with it, wow, I was hooked. But having that taken away, that was devastating. So I tell everybody that I created this unstoppable mindset, not because, I'm so brilliant. I created this unstoppable mindset because I had no other choice. Like I really just got to the point where I had no other choice. And after about a year and a half, I finally got the courage to basically believe in me again. And it wasn't even me that believed in me. I actually got a mentor in my life that really just I shared with them my story, my struggles. I said, hey man, I got evicted a couple of times. I had a car repossessed. I lost all my money. And he told me, hey, you know what? The market goes up and it goes down. Like this is normal. And I was thinking, I'm like, are you kidding me? I've gone through the most painful experience in my life. Like this is normal. But he really reassured me. He really got me connected to reality again. And he told me the market goes up and it goes down. This is a natural thing. But he said, if you will do the things that I'm going to tell you to do, you will be successful. So I didn't believe in me. So I believed in him and his belief system. So I said, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and believe you because you believe in me more than I do. So once I actually started up, I followed his instructions, and that led me to huge success. I mean, within a couple of months, I became Rookie of the Year. The next year, I mean, I closed, close to 25 properties and sales. And then from there went to 40, then 60, then 80, then 100, then 120, then 150. My business exploded. Why I always like to start off with my story is because, I don't want you to think that I'm somehow a special person that had this magical wand or, had this REO account or something like that, right? We always like to look at people that are either on a screen or on a stage, and we kind of somehow think that they have a magical power. But in reality, I wanted to share my story because I don't have any magical powers. Like I said, I developed this mindset because I got to the point where I had no other choice. In order for me to survive, in order for me to move forward, I had to create this mindset for myself. And from there, I developed a couple of key principles that I'm going to go through here in this short conversation, just so you can level up your life, level up your business, no matter if you're just getting started, if you're kind of intermediate or you're advanced. I think that what I'm going to talk about, the principles that I'm going to talk about are going to really cater to you no matter what level you're at, because I think they're universal principles. And my first principle is intention. I really want to talk about intention because even before I got into this interview and I was asked to speak here, I created an intention of what I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to leave you with, right? You on the other side that was watching this right now, I wanted you to leave you something with it. So that was my first thing. And basically for intention, I always tell everybody, take some time before you pick up a phone, before you go to an open house, before you go on your door knocking, before you go on your prospecting, before you do anything, set an intention of what kind of results you want to create, right? Like literally what I do is I close my eyes and I go within and I say, okay, my intention is to change lives. My intention is to bring value. My intention is to sign a listing with a positive, uplifting seller that's going to agree to my terms and it's going to value my services, right? Like you can get specific like that with an intention. And I really see that every single time that I set an intention, like it's night and day when I get the results, right? So even before I came on this camera, I set an intention as well, but the type of impact, the type of conversation that I was going to have. And intention is also really connected to your why, right? Because what you really want to get connected with as you're building your business, you really want to have a strong why, like why it is that you're getting out of bed in the morning. Why is it that you're working these long hours? Why are you taking time away from your family? So it's very important that you understand your intention and your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because what I found, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years, but I've talked to people that have been in the business 20, 30, 40 years. And what I hear as a common theme is a lot of the times their why wasn't even clear. They were building something because of their ego. They wanted to create a certain amount of income or money or status, but you really got to get connected in my perspective, right? And you could take it or leave it. A why that is connected to your heart and a why that is connected to something greater than you. And it's most of the time it's connected to some sort of service. It's connected to service, right? So I would say connect to your intention and your why. That's the first principle that I want to go over. The second principle is to create affirmations for yourself that are specific to what it is that you're creating, right? So I developed some affirmations that I've been saying for years, and I say these affirmations and I, share them a lot of the conferences where I speak at. And I say things like this: every day and every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day and every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger. Every day and every way, I'm getting smarter and smarter. All I need is within me now. I have perfect health. I make other people's lives better with my presence, voice, and words. I attract amazing people to my life every day. Even you that you're watching this right now, right? I was born to win. I will never surrender. I will always keep growing. I was born to be great. Today will be the best day of my life no matter what. I sign a new listing today. I open a new escrow today. I am a great leader, speaker, motivator, and negotiator. So these are the type of affirmations that I've done for many years. That's why I have these things memorized, right? So again, right, I went to seminars. I picked up a couple from Tony Robbins, a couple from other speakers and other books, Joseph Murphy, I think, was one of the guys that I picked up a lot of my affirmations as well. But you really want to create something that's specifically tailored to what it is that you want to create. Because the great Muhammad Ali, he believed in affirmations. He said he was the greatest before he was the greatest. So I would create affirmations that are specific to what it is that you want to create and say them out loud, right? I mean, I've been caught driving down the highway and yelling these affirmations with so much energy. Number one, it gets me, again, it connects with my intention. Number two, it affirms to my mind and my subconscious mind of what I want to create. And number three, the energy that I'm projecting, that gets me energetically prepared. And when I show up to a meeting, my energy is uplifted. And I really think that this is a really powerful tool, right? Becoming unstoppable. You have to have this sort of energy that is uplifting when you're talking to buyers, you're talking to sellers, you're doing an open house, whatever it is you're doing, your energy has to be, I would say, elevated, because I see that with elevated energy comes elevated income. So the number three principle that I want to focus on is focus on your habits. What are your daily habits, right? I just talked about one of my habits, which is affirmations. I also like to meditate. And again, meditate is not something that you really need to get super crazy like about. What I do is I just sit and I just listen to my breath and I just focus on harnessing my focus muscle, because one of the things that we're at war with right now is our focus. More than ever, because of so many devices, so many distractions, our focus is at war. So I like to do affirmations and also meditation to develop my focus. That's one of the things I like to do. I like to journal. I like to read. I like to feed my mind. I like to do some physical workout, because with the physical workout, my blood is flowing, so I feel a lot better. And your habits also include, your daily prospecting, right? Because no matter what level you're in, you have to prospect, you have to follow up, you have to create content. That's another one of my habits that are being done daily. So that's principle number 3. And principle number 4 is writing out your goals and creating a plan. Because you can write out your goals, and if you write out your goals and you see them, but if you don't have a plan applied to it, then you're not going to get there, right? So this year you might have a commitment of how much production you want to do, or how many agents you want to attract, or what sort of result you want to create in your finances and your family and your relationships and with everything. So you really got clear, write it out, and then develop a plan, work backwards, right? That way you can have a specific process. And the next principle is, I think this is the last one, actually. The last principle is to have self-confidence. Self-confidence. I really think that one of the things that is going to get you to the next level, and what's gotten me to the next level, is believing in myself and in what I bring to the table. Because I think that a lot of the times we don't take opportunities, or we don't take certain actions because we're not confident within ourselves of what we're doing. And this is the secret, by the way. I want to give you the secret sauce in this presentation right now. This is the secret. So you want to write this down. The secret sauce is you. That is the secret sauce. The way you communicate, the way you show up, the way you dress, the way you feel, the way you love, the way that you do everything about your life. Like I look at my life and myself as an artist. And I really believe that we're all an artist at one level or another. Not saying that I can, draw like a Mona Lisa or a masterpiece like that, but I really believe that our lives are a masterpiece, and everything that we're doing, even our mistakes, by the way, are all designing our life. So you really have to have the self-confidence, because as you already know how I started this conversation, I've had roller coasters of up and down. So when you have the downs, your self-confidence is going to really come to play. Like, how are you going to maneuver, with adversity, right? If the market shifts, if the interest rates change, whatever happens with the government that, decides to change one of the regulations, you really got to develop your self-confidence, because when you develop your self-confidence, guess what? You're going to be at the driver's seat of your life. And I will tell you this, right? I'm pretty sure that you've been on in a car ride where you're not the driver. Maybe you're in the back seat. Maybe you can think about it when you were a kid. Maybe your dad was in the driver's seat. Maybe your mom was in the driver's seat, right? And you were at the mercy of your mom and your dad, and they were taking you to the destination, and you really had no say on what happened. You're just there for the ride. So what I want to empower you to think about is that I don't want you to just be here for the ride this year. I want you to be here in the driver's seat, because in the driver's seat, you can punch in where you want to go in your navigation, and you can get to your destination because of your choice, right? And what I do see a lot of people doing is that they put themselves in the passenger seat or in the back seat, and they're just there for the ride, just hanging out, and they're just going with the flow of the changes of the market. But let me tell you this about the market. Like I started off my story, the market will always do what the market does. But I really believe that the market is a personal question. It really is a personal question, because I talk to agents every single day. Some of them are crushing it. And this last week, they produced amazing results. When I ask them, how's the market? They're going to tell me, oh my God, the market's amazing. Some people, some agents that I speak to, like, they're not doing any deals. And I tell them, and I ask them, how's the market? I'm like, yeah, the market is really bad. So that's why I say that the market is a personal question. The market has nothing to do with your success. The market has nothing to do with my success. The only thing that's going to help us to level up this year is us being in the driver's seat, us taking full responsibility for our life and everything included, even the bad stuff, by the way, because I think it's really simple, to take accountability for the good stuff. But when stuff hits the fan, own that thing, because when you own something, you actually have an opportunity to make a difference. So I thank you for listening to this presentation. Let's level up.
Let's level up. You just heard from Leo. Thank you so much, Leo. That was amazing. I am pumped. I am motivated. I hope you are too. Leo gave you the mindset that you need, right? He gave you the motivation. You're going to take accountability, all of that. So now let's get a little bit into some maybe skill set, right? So next we're going to be talking to Tina Beliveau, and we're talking digital mail, baby, how to run a digital farm on Facebook. So, you think about farming. I think traditionally we think about, we're going to get the postcards, we're going to do all of that. This is a different approach to this. She's going to break down how to successfully run a geo farm through a Facebook group. It's kind of intriguing. So why don't we toss it over to Tina?
There, my name is Tina Beliveau, and I am so excited to talk with you today about how to run a digital geographic farm on Facebook. And just to give you a little bit of backstory about me and how I'm using the strategy in my market, which is Baltimore, Maryland, and having a lot of success with it. I have been a real estate agent since 2005. Can't believe I'm coming up on 20 years in the industry. I run a team called the Beliveau Group with EXP, of course. Cumulatively, we have sold over 1,700 units, 400 million in cumulative sales volume. I've been an Icon agent for 2 years in a row, working on my third year of Icon status and my third year at EXP here. Totally love this company. And I have always been an agent that is totally relationship and referral driven. And I'm going to share with you how I've added this additional lead funnel to my business and all the reasons of why I love it, how it's working well for me, and how you can duplicate and replicate this system in your market. And pardon me if you see me looking down at my notes, I want to make sure I remember to tell you all the good stuff. One other thing I just always like to mention, from 2016 to 2019, I spent just over 3 years running a very large real estate franchise in my local market before coming to EXP. And that's where I really fell in love with teaching and coaching agents and taking all of my marketing strategies and boiling them down so other people can use them. I'm a total marketing and technology nerd, so that's kind of where my interest lies. And that's why I love anything that I can do with Facebook, social media in general, and really just tools on the internet where I can really duplicate and scale what I'm doing. So one thing I always say, so we're going to talk about Facebook groups and how they can replace any sort of mail, like direct mail farming that you're doing, or maybe you're not even farming at all through traditional methods, but you just want to apply a digital tactic. So I am a Facebook OG. I got Facebook in college when that was the only way to get it. And I've used it to fuel my business in so many ways over the years. And I think it's so easy to forget that Facebook is still such a powerful tool. You know, there's a lot of social media platforms that are newer, more interesting. Maybe I'm even drawn to spending time on Instagram. But what's funny is I found I still get some of my best results through Facebook because I do have such an established network there. So I'm always looking at how I can continue to tap into that at a higher level. So small backstory, I want to tell you about my farm and how it's working. So back when I've actually been out of the field directly selling homes since 2016. I went into a management position at that point, like I mentioned before. And then ever since then, I've really just been on the back end of my business. I kind of operate as the rainmaker for my team. I generate a lot of leads through my ongoing relationships and systems. So back in 2014, 2015, that was kind of the peak of my, 10-year span out in the field. I was working strictly as a listing agent for my team, and I was focused very heavily on farming and cultivating business in the area that I live in, which is called Lutherville Timonium, which is kind of a fun little mouthful to say. So back then I was doing a lot of different things to expand my reach, specifically in that segment of my market, which is in the Baltimore suburbs. And I added on postcards, and at kind of the peak of everything, we were sending out 5,000 postcards a month to a large swath of addresses in that market area. And it's a very functional strategy. Farming is one of the tried and true methods of real estate lead generation. I'm not against it at all. The things about farming that can be challenging are, number one, mail and anything printed tends to be one of your more expensive lead generation methods. The second thing is, if you want to send quality content out, sometimes in my case, there was time spent on figuring out what the postcards should say. And it wasn't like a set it and forget it kind of system, because I was selling homes in the area and making sure we were featuring them. So it just ended up being more labor intensive. It was a full-on system that required a person to maintain it and really do a whole lot for it. So it was functional for me, but it got to a point where it just didn't make sense to sustain it as my business continued to evolve. And alongside of that, at that time, I was doing so many different things to nurture relationships in the area. I actually launched this Facebook group that I'm going to share with you today, all the way back in 2015. It just didn't take off until 6 years later. So that's kind of the punchline of where we're going. But just to give you an idea, originally I created a group and invited everyone that I knew to join the group. And there were about 200 people in it. I did a little bit with the group, and then it just sat there for years. And then fast forward to the pandemic, of all things. Essentially what happened is the group just started to organically grow, because as the pandemic started, people were just looking to network more online and get in touch with neighbors and all these things. And it was a very slow build at first. And essentially what happened is the group started growing a little bit in 2020. And then in 2021, I decided to literally pay attention to the group. I didn't even have my notifications on. That's how out of the radar screen the group was for me at that time. I turned on my notifications and I started to engage organically with people. So I wasn't really curating any kind of content or making a push to grow it or, get anything out of the group. But I started commenting on posts, asking questions occasionally. And then the group just started growing more and more. Then in 2022, I decided to make it an official focus for my business. And I'm going to share with you today everything in a very short period of time. I'm going to give you the highlights of what I did to really drive growth through the group. And now in 2023, as of this recording, things are really cooking. So just to give you some statistics, we had 200 members way back in 2015. The group has now broken over 6,000 members as of right now. We are growing at a rate of about 250 members per month all completely organic. I'm not promoting the group anywhere really. I'm not paying to get, like posts out about it. It's all just happening because the group has picked up value with like the Facebook algorithm, and it, suggests the group to people who are local, and it just keeps growing and growing. And a couple of just interesting facts. That group is most active between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. So kind of a good thing to know about Facebook, at least in my experience, is that most of your best activity is during weekday business hours. So I think that's always something interesting to pay attention to when you're posting and when you're engaging. And we have about 200 posts that get submitted every month. I only approve about 85% of the posts that people submit, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But I'm generating very little of the content. I'm probably generating 4 to 8 of the posts that go out in that group per month, and everything else is coming from the crowdsourced community that we've built in the group. So I'm going to just share with you a little bit of why I love groups and why I've decided to adopt this as like an official lead generation funnel for the Beliveau group. And the most important reason why is that in 2022, it really started to make us some money. So last year we closed 5 transactions from the group. It was somewhere around 2.5 million in sales volume. Now, depending on your production, that might sound like a life-changing amount of transactions, or it might sound like a drop in the bucket. For my team, it's a little bit more in the category of a drop in the bucket, but what I saw was how scalable that if I were to just apply a few things to that tactic and just take it to the next level and the next level, that it could become a much bigger stream of leads for us. And that's absolutely what's happening. As of right now, we're kind of wrapping up the first quarter of 2023 as of this filming. And we are already on track to match last year's production in the first quarter and grow from there. So I'm hoping that this can be, a $10 million arm for our business, maybe even more of that this year, and then growth from there, which is something that I'm excited about. So that just gives you a sense of some of the potential that you could be tapping into in a Facebook group. And, the reason why I love this strategy is that I've said the word scalable several times. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. It's so scalable, and it's something that you can do. And we're all, with EXP, and the beauty of EXP is working virtually. I've really embraced working virtually, joined the company in mid 2020. And I, work in my home office. I also became a mother in 2021. I'm pregnant with my second child right now. So I'm at a phase in my life personally where anything I can do from home is essential. I am past the first and second chapters of my career where I was out networking more and hustling, literally like out in the world. And anything that I can do from my computer and just have a really high quality of life and leverage over my time is super, super important to me. So that's why this tool really got my attention, because it was sort of that scalable thing at the right time for me and everything that's going on in my world. Aside from saving time and energy and money, because Facebook groups are free, also a great tactic, they're also opt-in. When people join a group, they are choosing to be there. There used to be a time in Facebook where someone could just add you to a group and you would end up being in the group whether you wanted to be there or not. Those days are over. People are in that group because they want to be, because they're interested. And that gives you implicit permission, in my opinion, to start to cultivate a relationship with them. Maybe not to sell to them right away, but to build a relationship where you have the opportunity to sell and to build that know, like, and trust factor that I love to talk about with all things social media. Really gives us that opportunity to build the relationship, our credibility, and then make the sale when it makes sense for them and for you. The other reason I love Facebook groups is you get so many insights and pieces of data. They're like a page, but even richer. You kind of heard me mention my stats at the beginning of how many people are joining a month and how many people are posting and all these different things. And I can pull all those numbers at a moment's notice from my group. The thing that I appreciate the most about the insights, though, is you can see the engagement level of every post so easily, figure out what is getting great engagement, and just duplicate off of that and make your posts more and more successful. So when you post in a group, you can see not only how many views did the post get, you can see who viewed it, which I don't really go that granular, but like it's at that level of insight if you wanted to have it. And then overall engagement levels, you can see what kinds of posts are most popular and just run with that, which is something that I've worked really hard to nurture. So hopefully I've talked you into, at least considering if this is a concept that would be the right thing for you. Generally, people are like, okay, well, what do I do? And I'm like, okay, well, here's the first step. You have to have a strategy, and this needs to align with, it needs to make sense for you and your business. So most agents sell in a specific geographic area. Some of us in EXP build these national teams and all of that, but kind of for the purposes of what I'm teaching, you have the opportunity to niche something geographically and say, okay, I really want to specialize in blank. So that should really be the first question for you to unpack is, where do I want to build this community, and how big or small of a group do I want to have? For example, you could build a group for just your neighborhood, which in the case where I live, there's only about 200 households in my neighborhood. So that would be nice, but kind of a limited opportunity. You could also do your entire city. You could do your entire state. You could do a suburb. So I would say, where do you want to be growing your business? Where do you live? What is there something you're already doing that you can combine this with? So have it make sense for you. And I would just encourage you to maybe look for a sweet spot where you're not going after such a tiny market that your group is never going to have very many people in it, and maybe not something so broad that there's no sort of niche of like why people, like there's no hook. So like if you were just going to do, in my case, like living in Baltimore, I think that's a great idea, and I think you could have a lot of success with it. But perhaps you could position it as a certain kind of person, like moms in Baltimore or whatever the case may be. For me, it made sense to go with a little bit more of like a sweet spot strategy with, like a nice big chunk of the suburbs, also with like a great average sale price, a good turnover rate, a lot of kind of variety in the homes that are sold. So there are a lot of reasons why I chose my target area. And that's why it works for me. So once you know the area that you want to focus on, I do recommend just doing a little bit of research. It's easiest, in my opinion, to just sit down at Facebook at like a desktop or laptop computer, open the search bar and start just searching the keywords that you're planning to use in your group name or the geographic concept, and see what groups already exist. So basically do a little bit of like a competitor analysis. Is anything else out there? Join those groups and have a look around. How big are they? How engaged are they? How spammy are they? AKA, are they like nicely moderated or just full of a bunch of advertisements? And start to figure out, is there like a niche that you could work your way into? Is there a way that you could separate yourself from maybe something similar, but do it better or in your own way? And from there, I recommend you make the final decision of the name for your group and kind of how you're going to position what the group is, who it's for, and then work on your plan for launching it. So don't start a group without doing any searching. That would be like one of the biggest mistakes you could make, in my opinion, of just not really looking around and seeing what else is out there and how you can kind of, do better than a competitor, or really like take a competitor group and have it feed your group. There's so many more things to this. So just to give you some big picture ideas, that's your strategy. You want to set up the group, which is a pretty basic process. I would recommend, if you don't know anything about setting up a Facebook group, just Google it. I'm sure you can find a really great guide about how to do that. And then what it's really all about is feeding your group content and adding information to it that will cause people to engage while they are there, and for people to add their friends and for them to stay, and for you to continue to have the opportunity to build that relationship with them. So I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to put some slides up here and just give you some examples of my best tried and true content strategies. On this first slide, this is actually just a screenshot of what my group looks like. It's a little bit old. You can see it says 5,400 members. We've recently crested 6,100. But just to give you an idea, the living in blank naming convention is a really great way to name your group if you don't know where to start. That would be my recommendation. And you can just see that I have some featured posts. My rules are pinned to the top. There's a little about section that explains what the group is for. So those would be just some simple core things. Oh, and of course, there's a cover photo. Those would be some simple things for having your group set up from the get-go. From there, what I normally recommend is selecting 3 to 4 content pillars or types of content that resonate the most with you, that you want to be sharing in your group. So I'm going to walk you through some of my best examples for content pillars, and then there's a whole lot more to this. I am going to be teaching a deep dive version of this class for a full hour for the Icon team at EXP University. So you can look into that later. I'm just going to give you the broad strokes to kind of inspire you and have you think about how this could work for you. So my favorite content pillar for a community-driven group is something called Trade Tuesday. This was what I did in 2022 to create a lot of momentum with feeding content to my group, because I don't know about you, but coming up with what you're going to say on social and having to generate new ideas over and over is exhausting. It's not always sustainable. So my Trade Tuesday idea was pretty genius, and then I decided that I was going to template a post. It would go up every Tuesday, and that I would every week crowdsource a different contractor type from everybody in the group. And every week I would say, who's your favorite painter? Who's your favorite house cleaner? Who's your favorite fill in the blank? I had 6 months worth of content just for Trade Tuesday. And it was very simple to do. I made one graphic. I made one sort of body copy, as you can see here. And then every week, all that I changed was the contractor type, like the category. And then at the end of that, I collated all of that into what's called a guide. So you can see on the slide I just moved over to here, you can see that I put them all together. Facebook has a tool called Guides where you can basically take separate posts that are all, related in some way and lump them together. And then you've got sort of a standing resource for people that's above and beyond any singular post. So this accomplished so many things at once for me. Number one, up until 2022, the group was branded to me, but I was not doing a lot to promote my team name. So going back to this other slide, what I did was I made sure that it incorporated my logo, my colors, my font. I did have all the posts come from me, the person, instead of my business page, because I feel very strongly on Facebook that people connect better with other people than other business pages. So I bring my brand in a lot, but really push it through myself so that people feel like they're connecting with Tina, the real estate agent, the person who knows the things that they need to get from her. So this would be my number one thing. If you were like, I want to launch a group and I don't want to worry about any content except one thing, I would say you could do Trade Tuesday, and you could do it every Tuesday, every other, one Tuesday a month, whatever you feel like you can stick with. The other thing that's really important to know about this, well, everything with Facebook groups, but specifically the strategy, is Facebook groups, when you own or admin a Facebook group, you can schedule posts out for a full 2 months. So I would sit and schedule all my Trade Tuesday posts for like 20 minutes, and I would book the next 2 months of posts. And then I just put a little note in my calendar to tee up the next set. So I basically created so much content for my group and probably spent an hour total on post scheduling for the entire first 6 months of 2022. And what this did was it got my name in front of everyone every single week. I brought my brand into it. I created value. The post got great reach and engagement. People were thanking me all the time. So if you wanted to just stop watching right now and go do Trade Tuesday, that would be really my top recommendation. And I have one other really great recommendation I'm going to give. I'm just going to show some other quick visuals as well. Every third Saturday, I let people do Small Business Saturday. And I say let people because one of the dangers with a good sized Facebook group like mine is you're going to have a lot of people that want to just come in and promote their business. So I don't allow people to just spam and advertise 24/7. It would make the group so unvaluable. So we just do a Small Business Saturday, and everyone can shoot their shot the third Saturday of every month. And that's it. That's another post that I have scheduled to just go on the third Saturday of every month. And then on the first of every month, I do a similar post where I just say, hey, what events are coming up this month in our area? And then people can comment and post on that. So as you can see, I've just created really simple systems to continue to have posts go out where I'm not even being that creative. I'm more just being kind of the center person of creating resources and information for other people. The last thing that I want to leave you with as far as content is doing giveaways. So this was also at the beginning of 2022, where I had a little aha moment and realized that if I started doing contests in my group where I was giving away something people would be interested in, I could start collecting their contact information and get them into my CRM and onto my email list and start marketing to them even more frequently and with better quality than just the Facebook group. So I have done giveaways in the group for as little as items that are worth $20. Anything that's local and like a popular restaurant or store or establishment or bar usually does really, really well. This is one of my favorite success stories up here on the slide. I invested $125. We did it celebrating when we broke the 5,000 member mark. I had, let's see, 236 people get in my database from that one contest. From my very my very strategically engineered contest entry form, I had people let me know if they wanted to buy, sell, or had other real estate questions. We got 8 leads, and one of those leads, we took a listing immediately and sold it before the end of the year. People love their crabs in Baltimore, so depending on what your market is, pick something that is beloved, run a giveaway once you've got some people in your group, and then you can grab contact information and then really add people to your funnel and keep marketing to them. One other thing, I always just put a screenshot up here. I go live and do all of my giveaways live. It's always a random drawing. There's this great website, write this down if you're able to, wheelofnames.com. You can just load in all of the people that entered your contest. I always just point my camera to it. It does like a wheel that spins. The winner pops up, and then I congratulate them. And I always show my face, and I always get comments like, oh, it's nice to finally meet you, Tina. And it just helps me continue to build my relationship and my brand with everybody in the group. The last thing I want to leave you with is having lead capture in your membership questions is a really great idea. I recently revamped my questions to be even more strategic. I'm having great success. You can see I really asked them 2 key things. Number 1, do they want to find out the current value of their home? And there is a tool in KV Core where you could put them on a neighborhood update based on their email and their home address that I'm a huge fan of using. So if anyone gives you that information, you can put them right in your CRM with that. And then the second one, are you considering buying or selling a home in the area? You'd be amazed how many people answer that question, yes, all the time. So you'll never find out if you don't ask. So you ask the question, and if they say yes or maybe or anything sort of that's worth following up on, I just PM them right away. I introduce myself. Sometimes I even friend request them to make sure that they see my PM, because sometimes it doesn't go into the right inbox. I have a lot more Easter eggs and tips. So I'm going to wrap this up. There's a lot of other things you can do to optimize your group. You can turn on what I've put up here, which is called a member introduction. You can also have like a welcome post that's pinned to the top of the group, just explaining what the mission of the group is. Again, sharing your contact information, calls to action, making sure they know who you are. And then the last thing, it does really help to have rules for your group. One of my big things in our group is that we are not next door. And what I mean by not being next door is we are a positive group. It's not a place to rant. It's not a place to say inappropriate or rude things. We really, and when I say we, my group is so busy that I've recruited 2 volunteer co-admins who moderate all of the posts with and for me. They tend to review about 80% of the posts before I even get to them. They're just bought in because they get so much value from the group themselves. So we've just become really clear that our group is a place for positivity. It's not a free-for-all. It's not filled with advertising, and people absolutely love it. So I'm going to close right there. I hope you got some value from this. If you're interested in getting my deeper dive course, the easiest way to find out would just be to follow me on Instagram. My handle is @TinaBeliveau. It's just my full name, @TinaBeliveau. And sometimes in my link tree, I have my classes. You'll see it in my stories. But if you want to get more information from me, just shoot me a DM, introduce yourself. We can start a conversation and I can point you to one of my icon classes or one of my resources. As you can see, I'm super passionate about this topic. It's really got a lot of upside for me and my team members. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And thanks again for being with me today and watching this.
Woof, my friends, that was Tina Beliveau. That was amazing. I love it. And I'm thinking I myself need to jump in on something like that. That was really, really cool. I loved it. So hopefully you got a lot of value from it. I hope you're taking notes. And now I want you to draw a line in your notebook because you're going to want to make some more notes. This is going to be fire. So next up, we're going to be talking to Sherry Swift, the Sherry Swift. She is a performance and a growth coach, and she's going to be talking to you about the 3 easy habits that are going to help you complete your lead generation. So we're talking forming great habits, being ahead of your distractions. Does that speak to you? You need this, right? All right. And we're talking about gaining momentum to win. So, guys, let's do it. I'm so excited to introduce you to the Sherry Swift.
Hey, EXP, welcome to your season of opportunity. Opportunity to demonstrate your differentiator and reflect the difference in your real estate business. Opportunity to double down on your habits. Opportunity to tighten up your time blocks. And then opportunity to widen your connections and demonstrate leadership in your business and in your relationship. Welcome to the correction. My name is Sherry Swift, and I'm a performance coach, a leadership coach. And every day for over 20 years, I've had the absolute privilege of helping people unlock their next level of greatness. Let's you and I unlock some things together today. Let's talk about 3 easy habits to help you complete your lead generation. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today as we transition into the spring and the summer market. Believe it or not, here we find ourselves in the first or second week of the end of the first quarter. We are quickly entering into the second quarter of 2023. And the only thing that should be on your mind is leads, right? We all want leads. We need leads. And we understand that the health and the sustainability of our business is directly connected to the amount of leads that we have coming and going through our business. Now, the challenge. Let's talk a little bit about the challenge. The challenge is that we want the leads, we need the leads, but we don't always create a sustainable habit to keep an induction, a regular flow of leads coming into our business. So today I'm excited to talk for just a few minutes about the habits that you need to complete lead generation. Number 1, I want you to plan to rise early and rise early enough to be ahead of your distractions, right? The challenge when you wake up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning is your distractions are waking up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning with you. So I don't know what you're going to do with that, except for be behind the entire day. So what we want to do is we want to rise early enough to be ahead of all of our distractions. Just think, if you could rise at 5 o'clock in the morning, or at 6 o'clock in the morning. I know, hold on to the side of the bed. You can't believe what I'm talking about, right? But here's what you need to know and accept. Everyone who is living an authentically successful life, they wake up first thing in the morning early enough to put something into themselves before they begin to put things into other people. They wake up early enough to put something into themselves before other people have an opportunity to distract away from them. So when you wake up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, you have an amazing opportunity to create a consistent 5-step approach to everything that you need to do in order to become yourself and to be ready for everything that you need to do for the day. So what are the 5 things that you would do first thing in the morning if you could rise early enough to beat your distractions that would help you be motivated and on purpose about your lead generation? Again, right now, today, we're talking about just 3 really easy habits to help you complete lead generation. Number 2, you need to know who you are going to call before you actually start your lead generation session. Do you have any idea how much time we actually waste in scrolling through our phone, scrolling through our database, trying to figure out who we're going to call? The challenge when we're doing this is we waste a significant amount of time trying to make excuse on why we should or shouldn't call this person. If you can go into your lead generation session with clarity on who it's time to call. So I'm going to challenge you to make sure that you identify the night before who's due a call from you. You should never show up in your lead generation session scrolling through your phone or your KV Core trying to figure out who you're going to call before you hit dial. You should already have a call list ready to go. And what that does for you is it avoids the unnecessary emotion that's connected to making phone calls at times where you're trying to determine whether or not you should call this person or you shouldn't call this person. Just create the list and move forward. And then finally, number 3, because we're talking about 3 easy habits to help you complete lead generation today, we're going to make sure that we turn off, while we're doing all of our calls, all of our notifications. Because what's worse than being into a really serious and intentional lead generation session and you receive an Instagram notification, or you receive a Facebook notification, or a phone call comes in? There's nothing worse. There's something that we call momentum, right? Momentum in energy. The more you do it, the better you get. You get warmed up, right? So I'm about, I don't know, maybe 5-6 minutes into this talk right now, and I am warmed up. So that means I only get better from this point forward. What happens is when we interrupt ourselves, we make a couple of calls, we stop because we're checking Facebook. We make a couple of calls, we stop because we need to check our Instagram. We make a couple of calls, we stop because one of our clients who we're already in relationship with has reached in and they're interrupting us so that they can talk about something that we are already in the middle of. So they're going to take us out of this amazing momentum that we've created, and they're going to cause us to maybe possibly deal with some negativity, and it's going to put us in a completely different energy. So I want to today give you permission to turn off those notifications. When you are in lead generation mode, you are going to sit down with your notifications off, and you are going to focus on the people that you have decided already the night before that you're going to call for the day. And because you made a decision to rise early as opposed to waking up at the last minute and feeling behind for the entire day, you are going to rise early, and you're going to show up for your lead generation session with lots of energy, something in your belly, lots of good motivational, inspirational energy that's moving through your body, and you are going to be able to effectively complete your lead generation. Let me just say this on a closing note. Without lead generation, we've got nothing. Lead generation is the engine to your vehicle. Lead generation is the engine to your vehicle. So you want to make sure that you're not allowing your engine to be unserviced. You've got to make the time to create the intention and make sure that you are filling your pipeline. I'm excited for you to be able to exercise a little bit of this muscle. Here's what I want you to know. No matter where you are in the week or in the world, when you view this video, I want you to know that I am here 100% as a resource for you. EXP and its amazing university team is here as a resource for you. Let's connect and make sure that we connect on the workplace. Let's connect on IG at The Sherry Swift. And then I want you to find me on my YouTube channel, which is Sherry Swift Real Estate Coaching. And I can't wait to just be more of a resource for you in this spring and this summer of lead generation, because you're in charge of everything that you have or you don't have. It's going to be a great season. Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you, Sherry. That was awesome. That was so good. Lead the engine, right? So let me ask you, is your check engine light on? Sherry just gave you all the tools to fix that. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. You've got the motivation. You've got the fire now to go and take on your lead gen. So, my friends, that was today. We have been on fire. Like, I'm pumped up. I'm leaving today with momentum. But before we close out, I want to ask you, are you tired of the same old big training programs that promise these big results but leave you? You're like, oh my, this is too much. I'm lost. I'm overwhelmed. Do you want a training program that's going to provide a step-by-step approach, right? something that's going to help you take your business to the next level. Well, my friends, I am here to give you that tool right now as we close out. Sherry gave you that motivation. She gave you the fire. She gave you the tips. So now I'm going to give you what we call action, the path to production. So this is our very first learning path. And we're going to actually put a link in the chat right now, whether you're watching in world or on YouTube. But this is going to be specifically designed for our new and early career agents who want to establish a solid foundation for their business. So it's action, right? You're going to learn everything you need to know about generating leads, converting those leads into clients, helping those, deals close, and building your business through referrals. Now, our guided training program, it's going to take you through these essential topics. It's going to provide a clear roadmap, right? So your check engine light is not on now. You need that roadmap, right? We're going to give you a comprehensive set of tools that are going to help you succeed. So again, click that link right now. You're going to develop a plan that you can put into action, and you're going to have confidence in the skills to make it happen. So whether you're, just starting out or just looking to get a boost, looking to get a little momentum, action is going to help you achieve your goals, take your business to the next level. And I want you to keep a lookout, because this is just one of the learning paths that we have got going on for you. We are going to be launching a lot of things going forward. So keep an eye out. I am so excited about it. All right, my friends. So we are closing up today on this Wealth Wednesday. I want to genuinely thank you for joining us today in Level Up. I hope that you have value. I hope you have a page full of notes. And now what I want you to do is go take action, right? Go take action. So make sure that you subscribe to the eXp Realty YouTube channel so you get notified when we're back, because we're coming back on Friday with BAM, the big agent meeting. So I am so excited to have you guys here, and we will see you on Friday. For now, go level up.